Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap. As you can tell, we started a bit later here today. We actually had a extended session of Daily Brief today with Julian. Since today is Thursdays, and Thursdays we have our baby powder report from Thailand. But here we are on the 23rd of July, 2020. Isn't that interesting? So 202023. I wonder if Monday was an important date. Anyway, coming into what appears to be some sort of apex event window here at the end of the month. We've been talking in our free broadcast lately about a long time sort of site, or not site, but market technician Larry Williams. Was putting out calls looking for some sort of top in the equity markets into the final week of July here. Frankly speaking, it seems to make sense. If we look at our breadth indicator, we can see fast has already zipped up top. So, all the sort of fluffy, easy money is gone. And the slow is slowly grinding its way up, and probably into, about a week from now, we're probably going to find that this guy's all set up nicely here up against the top end of the range. Even comparison to yesterday, remember yesterday we had just everything all bullish, but we're actually starting to see a bit of slippage here on some sectors. So interesting too, we did our first 2 week study, and it looks like actually the market believes that we're sort of at full market bottom, full recession, which I think makes sense. The econ's coming out. And technology, communication services, discretionary, all those actually are an interesting area of the market. Fascinating. So keep your eyes peeled there. Obviously, tech is pretty hot here anyway. But interesting to see, we had some big earnings numbers come out overnight that the market was kind of moving into, it felt like. Probably the biggest mover. Tesla, everybody of course loves this stock. My message about a week or two ago, I put like sort of public tweets out was, I don't know, maybe don't chase. It's interesting. This is a daily chart. If we finish like this will be the most beautiful outside downside key reversal. I mean, just the biggest sell signal you could possibly generate off of one candle alone. Tons of gaps to the downside. And of course, have we maybe gone a little too far too fast? I think so. That sort of whole market topping kind of thinking. Could we spend the next week or so just muddling around up in this massive range before we actually roll over? Sure. I mean, you see how long this top took to actually go from start to finish. So blow off top and then ultimate breakdown is, looks like it's that day. So that's about 16 bars. Let's see where that puts us. So that would suggest a breakdown there around, looks like the first week of August or so. What a surprise. So, and if I understand correctly, Tesla, the company, kind of fudged the numbers a little bit. I get the impression there's a big incentive, probably bonuses, all that kind of stuff, for them to get listed on the S&P 500 stock index. Have all those institutional players come in and buy the top of the market and all that kind of talk. And the numbers came out okay, but when they sort of broke the numbers down and where did they actually make money and how did they make money, from what I understand from Julian's report, a little bit of funny business in the accounting there. So regardless, we got no business chasing. Now we can actually start thinking about actual, gee whiz, are we going to get a sell signal here? So that's a bit of a surprise. Also did hear, well, I don't think but I know Sjord over in Holland, he likes to follow some private advisory services. And one private advisory service that bought Apple, I think they said at about $150 a share, has decided in their great wisdom that they want to get out of Apple now. Which is interesting. I haven't even looked at the stock. Let's see where it is. So $150 a share, not bad. I mean, they're going to double their money. That's a nasty looking M top, though, eh? Gee whiz. So I guess that makes sense. I have no idea where Seward's buddies were buying. Probably down in here. As a harbinger. If anything, this might be a good example where if we can get counter trend rallies over the coming week or two, maybe we can take a look at puts. Might be interesting to look at the TRI-SOF formula. But if anything, that's probably a good image of how risky this market is right now. It is a very, very risky market. Ironically enough, probably the one place you can avoid the market, this kind of stuff, is pharmaceuticals. We had one that popped quite violently here. Everybody should be able to see the W down in here. For some reason, I'm not quite sure why, but I wasn't in this one. But I know I'm almost positive there were some TRI people in this, because I'm not quite sure why it would be on my screen if some TRIers weren't in there. Another pharma name, obviously pharma catches a bid in this COVID world. So that's encouraging. Also, I don't know whether I really like the product or not, but it makes perfect sense. Apps that are going to basically take the consumer and have all of their sort of financial data, which, is that such a good idea, but nonetheless, all sort of focused in, and you'll be funneled right into the preferred sort of selling vendor of whatever products they have: stocks, bonds, mutual funds, life insurance. It doesn't surprise me this does well, and these kind of tech names, I think they'll do okay. Of course, the metals markets, they should be enjoying a pretty nice rally. So kind of happy. In fact, there's some great looking little venture cap stocks. I wouldn't be expecting this thing to take off right away, but if I'm gonna buy metal names, these are the kind of names I really want to concentrate on, the junior mining stocks. But we bought a bunch of these, and they've moved up nicely off the lows. So I mean, it's certainly nothing to complain about there. So I don't mind pharma. I don't mind tech related, especially if it's sort of like outsourcing, downsizing, whatever the hell you want to call it, to have workers working at home. I like metal names. Like this Newmont, for example. It's been driving us crazy, but just slowly working its way higher. Some of these gold stocks, we had like a race between B2 Gold and Newmont, who would put in the bot the fastest, and the B2 is just zoomed right up, whereas my little Newmont sort of just stuck in the mud here. But I don't mind the gold names, and especially it's kind of funny. There was one gentleman who was watching our videos a while ago, and he was like, of all people to not be in this bot set up on gold. It really surprised him that I wasn't in this bot on gold itself. I decided to go the stock route, but interesting to see this gold bot. It's actually hit its move stop to trailing level now. So any gold bulls, if you start seeing M's in here, anybody who bought this level, long and short of it here, with it pushing to new highs, there's nothing really to do here right now. Just got to leave it alone, and believe it or not, the target's still up there at $2,000. Suppose looking at your chart grid. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention, but we'll talk lots about it in a bit, of course, is blockchain. So I like pharma and anything that's sort of COVID related. The metal stocks, anything that sort of can ride this inertia of the gold and silver market. I definitely think that those are trades. I don't know whether they're investment grade. Is Newmont value here right now? I doubt it. But anyway, that's just me talking out my butt. Definitely momentum trades. I think it's all sort of predicated on the backdrop of this crazy US dollar. It's interesting that the politicians in Washington right now, the ball's basically in their court, and the question is, are they going to pass that next stimulus? And maybe one of the reasons why the US dollar has been as weak as it has is that's really been dragged on. They've been talking about that second stimulus program for a while, and it just hasn't developed. So you wonder if there's some wranglings around that. Find it fascinating, and if anything, it's a great anecdote that you should always sort of have like different perspectives. I was pretty, and if anything, what a great example of the market humbles you, eh? So I was pretty confident thinking that there would be some pivot that comes in here, and the market's like, like I give a shit what you think, Brian. Um, Fascinating how, and it is interesting because this is just trading plan 101. If you were like, well, that looks like an ABC continuation, so I got to hit that, basically the failure of that level. And I'm going to be gunning for 92.97 based on this setup. They're the exact opposite of the gold. They've had now their move stop to trailing level hit on this US dollar index. So any kind of firmness here, they'd be best to take some profits. And it looks like the gold and the US dollar index are finally started moving in lockstep again, which I suppose to a lot of market participants had the market a little bit confused that the US dollar index and gold were moving in conjunction. And that was very confusing to people. So anyway you shake it, risk on. Now the interesting thing about this, of course, we're coming into key horizontal support and resistance levels. So all the horizontal support and resistance guys are going to be paying attention. As we said, we have had move stop to trailing level hits. So if we do start Wing out here and maybe try and jump back above these trend lines, we might see a nice little counter trend rally ensue. But ahead of that sort of end of that July event, I don't see it. It might take like a week for this bottom to actually carve out. But for the time being, which is interesting because when we go look at the risk assets, you can clearly see that some of them are kind of like, I don't know, man. I showed you some of those tech stocks. Tech's been leading the charge here. So why is tech failing here? Maybe people are getting a little bit leery about this. They're thinking maybe this has just gone a little too far, too fast. Notice S&Ps are actually down a big chunk on the day. They're coming off a long way, so you can't make the argument that this isn't risky in itself. I would have thought the top would have come in a little bit higher, but hell, top's going to come in where the top comes in. We still have another week or so. Could we see some shenanigans into the options expiry tomorrow and then next week? Keep in mind, end of July, beginning of August. I mean, no pros are around the market. This is the market makers, central bankers and stuff, just moving the market around, especially in the currency arena, just because there's low liquidity, there's low volumes, there's not really a lot of market participants around. So they can do things like my brokerage house here in Canada has decided that, the past 2 or 3 days, you don't need to trade U.S. stocks. Loaded up the platform this morning. Oh, all your open orders just magically disappeared. So they've just decided that they're going to take this summer period where they think most of the people are away on vacation. And rightly so. I mean, it's only idiots like Brian that are around here through the summer. Can't, remember the old adage, you can't push a chain. So be careful through this summer market, okay, everybody, please. But don't believe half of the shit you see. And I'm a little concerned about crypto right now in that people are getting super uber bullish, and I don't like the look of the volume here. But anyway, this is oil, sort of continuing our risk on, risk off conversation. Funny conversation about this gap, eh? So we said that we were going to patiently wait for, sell signals to develop to keep hunting shorts. And fascinating how we came up right to that gap level, and now we're sort of waffling about here. So we'll keep an eye out. No real signals today. And again, U.S. dollars falling, should be risk on. The fact that the risk on markets are kind of like, this is getting ridiculous. And they're just not biting on this U.S. dollar moving lower, to me smells problematic, troublesome. Something's not right here, but we'll see. Heading on over to the risk off assets. I guess interesting again, U.S. dollar down. We're seeing the risk off assets jumping up here. Oh man, this is confusing. So again, I'm going to just chalk this up to silly summertime markets, but nonetheless, got to sneeze. 3? Do I get one more? Nope, that's it. So we had this little bullish bot, not bot, sort of ABCD, I guess. Suggesting we wanted to work our way back up to the top end of the trading range. Sure looks like that's happened and is happening. Again, there's a stock market break here. My hunch is that we probably see a little bit more strength into the stock market into the end of next week. But, maybe this is the top and these bonds blast off and we do big honkin' ABCDs take us way up to here. And remember, we said like months ago that we were going to watch this strangle trade by this put and this call. And then when we eventually get to either one of the two levels, we'll go take a look at the numbers and see how the trade did. And this has just been a case of just a big hurry up and do nothing right now. Which is fascinating too, right? Because I would actually make the argument that this should top out. Maybe over the next, 6 months, year kind of idea, the economy finally finds some footing and gets going. But for now, there ain't no sell signals there, so just hurry up and cool your jets. And then, of course, his buddy, the gold is doing its thing. Fascinating analogy of good old bots. Don't have an opinion, just trade your goddamn setups and away you go. Pullback's interesting now. Well, it'd do nothing more than just take us back down into this original buy level. Move stop to trailing levels now been hit. So anybody did take these gold trades, hopefully you can make sure you don't, at the very least, lose money on this trade. And if I'm not mistaken, I think we're finally coming up into those old highs. Yeah, so you can see there's the old high there. We put that over there so you can see that's probably going to act as a magnet now. So let's see how we did up against that. Haha, look at that. So my hunch is probably big psychological event. They want to go break out the gold to new highs. Nice big pop up top here. Frothy, U.S. End of the world, blah, blah, blah. And then we probably have to do some consolidation. So, big fat round number, $2,000, old historic highs, bought levels. I don't see any reason why this can't hit this, especially in this environment right now. Very wonky currency markets. U.S. dollar just doing all sorts of crazy stuff. So basically, kind of same thing about shorting crypto right now. I don't know if it's such a good idea to step in front of these trains. I don't think it's a good idea to step in front of that just yet. That's for sure. So in this funny, crazy sort of summertime market, you can kind of see the venture stock index relative to the big guys. And more sideways. With it up like this, it means that the venture cap part of the market's obviously doing better than the big boys. But nothing really clear here. And this is classic sell when it goes, right? We're going to buy when it snows and sell when it goes. Interesting. Buy when it snows, sell when it goes. This is a ratio, so it's not exactly the same. Probably best to do it over here. Yeah. So buy when it snows. All these guys who bought in through here, they're finally shilling this shit at a small profit. Sell when it goes. If you want to set your plan up, that there's one guy that I work with here locally. Is like, hey, what are you buying? And he's like, I'm not buying anything. I can't wait till the fall. And I'm like, hey, it's the summer. Let's go out and have some fun in the good weather. No, man, I want the fall so I can go and buy stuff in the market. Right now, it sucks. So, especially when it comes to like venture cap, I think that's a good general policy. You can always trade trades through the year, but the people that like to, buy at the bottom and sell halves on doubles and stuff like that, it's pretty simple if you just set yourself up. In the fall and winter, I buy, and in the spring and summer, I sell halves on doubles and just rinse and repeat. Keep doing that year after year after year. Generally speaking, you do pretty well. Obviously, there's going to be years. If you see the market go parabolic up into the end of the year, obviously that's not going to be one of those kind of years. Um, but crypto on balance, and I've been sort of suggesting this to you guys, I do still like this violently flat kind of market state. I'm very jaundiced about believing that this is some sort of new bull market given the time of year. And then also, too, when I look at things like Bitcoin, I don't like this volume pattern one bit. Stinky, stinky, stinky. So, I mean, hell, if you trade setups and you're kind of like, well, Brian, I got 3 lows to work with. You can see the bot. I've got LJs. I've got like nice W's in my momentum indicators. Where's probably a good illustration of that? Over here. So, I'm getting bullish divergences. I've got W breakouts in RSI. OBV is breaking out to the upside. Yeah, I hear you that the volume's a bit suspicious, but hey, I trade W's. I gotta go. Okay, I mean, I'm not gonna argue that with you. I even suggested to people on the site today, look, I wouldn't fault you if you took this setup. It's not really a trade that I'd be too excited about. I would much rather try and hunt all these crazy, like this Digi here, for example. If I was in a trade, I really like something like that. It's similar, but keep in mind, Bitcoin and like Ethereum and stuff, they've already had a really big run up. So I really like these names that are just bumping along. Keep in mind, look how low. Actually, this isn't the best example, but basically we're right at the bottom of the range for Digi. And this is in dollars, so you can see the price appreciation there just in raw dollars. But those are the kind of setups that I'm really interested in right now if I was going to be trading anything. I don't know whether I like the idea of chasing. I mean, I do like that this was an inverted head and shoulders, and we have people that trade the inverted head and shoulders on the site, and they were hunting longs in here, and okay, great, awesome, you got paid. But what I'm worried about here, again, and what I kind of think's happening on Ethereum, keep in mind, they got the big 2.0 event coming up here. This to me sounds classic. Buy the rumor, and then on the event, sell the news. And what I'm worried about here for things like Ethereum is notice they did this last year, right? So they go bust the lows, and then that's the pivot. I got a funny feeling that that's basically what's going on here. But having said that, was there a long trade there? Maybe. I wouldn't fault you. It would have been awfully hard for me to trade this because I didn't, I like reload zones. I would prefer to hunt longs in here. And remember, I was thinking about buying put options, and I did get filled on some December puts here. So, I mean, clearly that's underwater losing trade. Way to go, Brian. You're awesome. But that's a December option. So what I'm thinking now is something along the lines of, I still think it's totally valid. Just have to find the damn line. Which one is it? There it is. So I'd be thinking like 185 right now on pullbacks. What I wanted to show you, but of course I've messed all these lines up now. But what I wanted to see was just if we had come into this head and shoulders target yet. So we can take that back to there, boo-boo-boo, and then clone that. Boobity schmoo. Uh-oh. Oh, that's not good. So 200%, right? That is the classic head and shoulders objective. Doink. And I guess what I'm worried about here, and this is what I kind of posted in TRI's lounge today, I was like, well, you do realize that there is this big honking top just sort of sitting here. Obviously, a lot of these stop loss levels are going to be great liquidity pools for guys like BitMEX, what's his name, Arthur Hayes. We might just continue rocking and rolling here, but I don't know. It's not something I would get. Like, if anything, I like the idea that you're spoon feeding into this rally taking profits off the shit that you bought off the bottom. If you're trading setups, man, I think maybe you got a nice little signal there. You better be ringing the register a little bit here. Coming up against these old highs. Could there be a fuck you against this? Nice little blow off top into that event? Sure. But I don't know whether it's a good idea to be going and buying Ethereum right there. That to me seems very troublesome. But anyway, it is what it is. As I said there a moment ago, I did actually go and buy a few more December options there. Haven't touched anything since this big pop, and obviously those options are underwater. But I'm perfectly fine with that. I mean, Julian, he's long like a bazillion Ethereums. So my little put option, that's just a fun little sideshow, if anything. But I run a little account on Deribit. I think I could make money still on that December option. I'm just not really in any hurry to do anything with those. And gee whiz, if I get another top, kind of like what I showed you with the crude oil demonstration, I might go and add a couple more contracts to that December put. And as I'd said about Bitcoin recently, I still like the idea of hunting some sort of idea up in this area. Gonna watch. Now, obviously, if Bitcoin blasts off here and just cranks higher, then I'm not going to step in front of that. But, I could very easily see us come up, rally up, put in some sort of big thing, and then back down we go. So, I don't know whether we get to 2-to-1s. I don't know whether we blast off. If you're long, great, awesome. You better get religion and cover those positions if we break below these levels. And I think I had said that even A, B, C, Ds were still working, and I would be still thinking that until that level was taken out. That's... which chart is it? Yeah, that's this chart. So, as it stands right now, this A, B, C, D, it looks like they want to take the market right up into this level. Maybe their objective is to run those stops. I don't know. Original reload zones up in this area here, and you can see A, B, C, Ds. That harmonic move is going to be exhausted once we get up into here. So I'll be watching. Here comes the end of August, or the end of July, beg your pardon. I'm going to be watching for some sort of top in here. I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it one more time. I believe this is our violently flat market state. And I wouldn't be surprised the end of the summer, we're pretty much exactly where we started here. So that image is, which one? Which one is that? Gotta say, man, these altcoin indexes are looking very uppy. Really try and find altcoin stories that have fundamental drivers, kind of like what you see with Ethereum 2.0 being a driver. Nice to see we didn't have. We actually had a potential breakdown here this morning, so it's good to see that they reversed that. I was a little bit worried about this crapping out right away. But I had this really cool. Where the hell is it? And I think really sort of here it is. I think this is really what I'm thinking right now. So, that ABCD, this is basically just taking this price range and replicating it over here and then reversing it. So you can see off of the fractal, rally, not quite as much. Pullback, not quite as much. Rally, we are rallying. Looking for a little bit of sideways. Then one more big pop up. And interesting how that should come right into that month end. And then through August, we start rolling over. So what's the easiest way for the market to break this hypothesis? You got to go take this high out. So just junk, go take that high out. Then this kind of thinking goes on the sidelines. For now, still kind of thinking along these lines. But as I had said there a moment ago, man, the altcoins, geez, these things are, and really this is the time of year for this to happen. Actually, interesting sort of side play in the stock market. This is the U.S. equivalent, and hopefully everybody can see the W's. I'm up here, of course, in Canada, and this is a Canadian company. But I was going in, and these guys are Ethereum miners. And I was going in and picking up some of this stock yesterday at like 5.5, 6 cents, right in this area here. So that's actually going to be probably my proxy. The way that I'll play this Ethereum move is I'll just trade this thing. Cute little inverted head and shoulders there. If Ethereum's got some legs, whatever this Ethereum 2.0 launch, let's get a nice little pump up in price. Go run those stops like I was saying a moment ago. I'm perfectly happy. Go pop the market up into this area here, and I should be able to get a really nice little double free position on this little stock. So that's sort of actually, ironically enough, that's the way that I'm playing the Ethereum bull right now. Individual crypto, like I had sort of showed you there a moment ago, what I'm seeing these alt indexes all coming to life here. I don't know whether Bitcoin's really broken out. The volume on all of these is very suspicious. So I wonder whether this is a bunch of sort of fluff into that July end event. But, this is usually in those kind of windows. This is usually when the altcoins have fun. So, here's an example. I mean, we got lots of these examples day after day after day. But this was a really interesting one that I wanted to mention to you guys, because this is a really good example of, in essence, that, and I guess I must have talked to you guys about this recently, because, in essence, this thing's done nothing for about a month. Just sitting there, not telling you to sell. All right, there's the bot entry level, and gee whiz, here it goes, starting to work. Really great analogy of a trader's life. You just got to hunt your setups. Take, when the setups come in, just got to take the levels, live with the results. Kind of like how I was moaning and groaning about that gold there, right? You just got to take the damn bot level and live with the results. I don't know what's going to happen here. You saw I walked you through those gold bots. Really good example of it's just business as usual. Just another day in the market, just doing your thing, just running your plan of trading. I think that's about this Syscoin's so super funny. Really good example of fundamental drivers driving coin stories. They announced overnight that they had agreed with Binance that Binance token can now be interchangeable with these guys. Did we know that was going to be one of the drivers popping this thing higher? No. And quite often after the fact, the actual reason why these things rally, we never really understand it fully when we're just hunting. We just go, holy Jesus, this thing's cheap. Probably should buy some. And then, of course, when it does start popping up on the fundamental news, hey, this thing's the best thing since sliced bread. Well, make damn sure to pay yourself on the way up. So that's kind of how I see the market. Go and find your individual FA stories. I mean, you look at all these. I see lots of W's and lots of uppies. And this is actually not even really the best list to be following. This is just sort of pieces of crap that I've been following. Look at storage. Actually, it looks like that could be a little bot setting up there. So boom, 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 boom. I mean, it's almost funny as you go through these. You can just see them. And this is the time of year when this stuff should happen. Right? This is actually pretty normal for this time of year. So you can see this storage. Yeah, maybe I can get up into my next selling level. That would be nice. But, writing's on the walls. Get out there and have some fun. Make money while the sun's shining. Like I said, I think probably this silliness window goes on for maybe another week or so. And once that is done, stock markets, if they do indeed top into the end of July there, probably we'll see the risk appetite in the market abate a bit. And we probably see things calm down here. But for the time being, make hay while the sun's shining. Enjoy yourself. And, of course, have yourselves an awesome rest of your day. All the best, and bye for now.